Disability is something that has a major impact on your life.
Every disability is different.
And it's never the same thing for two people. I am blind in my right eye totally and partially sighted in my left eye.
I was 18 years old. We were traveling way too fast on a gravel road. Broke my neck, my back.
My Asperger's syndrome and my cerebral palsy.
I have anxiety and depression. People would have no idea just talking to me.
Being independent means different things to different people.
I want to live in my own house. I want to pay my own bills.
Live independently and not rely on other people.
When someone is not able to live as independently as they can, it does have a detrimental effect on people's physical and mental well-being.
It's no complicated thing. It's just that people with disabilities want to be included.
Plenty of people get stuck in ruts when they feel like they can't overcome something in their life. That's where Lift comes in.
Living independently for today and tomorrow. Lift. We help people of all ages and all types of disabilities find the resources or acquire the skills to live as independently as possible.
We serve the southeastern 18 counties here at the Billings office. We have a variety of things that we offer. We can help with grant funding for adaptive equipment.
Maybe a home modification so they're able to access their home. We help people to find that funding.
Helping people apply for Social Security benefits.
Medicaid, Medicare, housing.
They have a peer support group. Peer support, I think, is key.
Sharing life experiences is one of the most powerful things to help people who might be new to disability, who might be struggling with their disability.
Youth transitions is kids that are transitioning out of high school. They need to learn those adulting skills. It might be rent an apartment, learn how to grocery shop, budgeting.
Help someone advocate for themselves in a school or an employment setting. One of our biggest strengths is providing folks with information and referral. If we can't help you, we hope to know who can.
A lot of times we'll have a potential consumer call in and they think that they just have one need, and it turns out that we end up finding 3 or 4 things we can actually do for them.
You can just come in and say, hey, I feel like I have this going on. Can you help me? And we can, which is so cool to me. I love that.
Most of us on staff at Lift have identified ourselves as having one or more disabilities. That is helpful in many cases.
It's easier to empathize with someone when you yourself have struggled with a disability.
This is what we specialize in. This is who we are, and this is what we do.
And it costs nothing to go to Lift. It's a nonprofit organization and they're there to help.
Somebody that was a consumer that was working with Lift was asked to do an art project. He visualized that the balloon helps to lift people up. And then it became the logo, and it's stuck.
There's been success on all kinds of levels.
It's really rewarding to have a consumer go, hey, I was able to do this by myself today.
We want people to live their best life as independent as possible.
Live as everyone else in society and live as a part of society, not apart from society.
Everybody needs help. Sometimes you just need a little more help, and that's okay. That's absolutely okay.
There's plenty of life to live still, and there's a way you can do it. Keep chipping away at it, little by little by little.
Knowledge is power. Let's share it, for crying out loud.
Send us an email, give us a call. We'll do our best to help.
We can definitely help figure out what your needs are and get started on that. We're one of many steps in the path to independence, and we're happy to be serving people here in the community.
Good day and welcome to Living Well in Montana. Living Well in Montana is a program of living independently for today and tomorrow, or LIFT as we sort of refer to ourselves. My name is Jed Barton, and I'm privileged to be the public relations specialist at LIFT. LIFT is a center for independent living. We are a advocacy and resource center for persons with disabilities, serving an 18-county region in southeastern and south central Montana. For more information about LIFT, I would encourage you to visit our website at liftt.org or download our mobile app for your Apple or Android device. One of the biggest pieces of the independent living puzzle is often transportation. Is for people with disabilities, particularly those who are unable to operate a car. One of the biggest pieces of the puzzle is transportation to get to jobs, community activities, being able to purchase necessities like groceries and household items. And so to that end, LIFT works with a consortium of organizations and groups to on issues surrounding transportation. And one of our partners for a long time is today's guest, Elise Monette. She is the active transportation planner with the Billings Yellowstone County Metropolitan Planning Organization. And we're going to talk a little bit about what exactly is active transportation. And Elise, it's great to have you here. First, let's start with, people are familiar with the City Council and the County Commission, and now we've thrown another entity into the mix here. What exactly is the Billings Yellowstone County Metropolitan Planning Organization?
Sure. Thanks, Jed, and thanks for having me today. So the Billings Yellowstone County Metropolitan Planning Organization is a federally mandated organization for urbanized areas with 50,000 people or more. And basically it just means that we get federal transportation dollars coming to our community. So that's really helpful, and it allows us to do most of our transportation planning in the Billings community.
Okay, and so what is your role as an active transportation planner? What does that mean exactly?
Yeah, so as active transportation planner, I work on issues related to biking, walking, and rolling. So definitely inclusive of people who are using assisted mobility devices. A lot of what I do, as you might guess, is planning. So we have a variety of plans that we work on. Right now we're working on the Billings area pedestrian and bicycle master plan. We're wrapping up a Safe Routes to School plan, and then we have kind of some more specific plans related to different areas. And so those serve as kind of the blueprint for what we're going to do in the community. I also have kind of a few other roles. I work with our Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee, which is our citizen advisory committee related to active transportation. I help with grants. I help with the Commuter Challenge, where we encourage people to bike, walk, bus, and roll during the month of June. And then just kind of other issues as they come up. Right now we're kind of working on updating our bikeway and trail map. So that's something we're working on soon.
When planning for active transportation infrastructure, in full disclosure, I've represented LIFT on a number of advisory committees with your organization, including on the current bike ped planning process and the current Safe Routes to Schools phase 2 process. And it's like anything where you draw stakeholders in, everybody's committed to the project at large, but everybody's got a slightly different vision of what that means and how that works. What would you say, how are the needs of persons with disabilities factored in, and how do we go beyond just meeting, checking off the Americans with Disability Act requirements, and is there any particular training or education that you've had in disability that you'd like to talk about?
Yeah. I think one of the important things is obviously trying to have different segments of our community represented. So having LIFT on these committees is really important, because really, you guys bring experience to the table that's really important to our plans. A couple of things. So there's the Americans with Disabilities Act, and then there's also this document called the PROWAG, which stands for the Public Rights of Way Accessibility Guidelines. And our engineers and our Public Works Department follows the PROWAG. It was actually kind of in limbo for a really long time, since 2011. It's a federal guideline document, and it was just adopted in 2023, a couple months ago. So that's really exciting. And the federal government is going to work on making sure that it's enforceable, but we do already follow those guidelines. I think another really great thing that we've done is the inclusive and interdisciplinary walk audits that we've partnered with LIFT and walkability expert Mark Fenton on. It's really great to be able to walk around the community with people with disabilities and see, okay, maybe there are some things that seem like smaller details, but they make a huge difference for people with disabilities that maybe aren't covered by some of these guidelines.
That's a great point. And for those who might be interested in more, Mark Fenton was a guest on this very program a year and a half ago, and folks can find that on LIFT's YouTube page or on the Community 7 website if they're interested in learning more about his work and on the inclusive interdisciplinary walk audits. There's a program or a project that has reached completion, I would say, called the Neighborhood Bikeway. And Lindsay, if we could bring up the map of the Neighborhood Bikeway. Could you explain a little bit about what that exactly is, and maybe how that not only benefits people who might be able to hop on their bike and bike all the way from, looks like North Park, all the way out to maybe Rose Park, but how it benefits people who are commuting a little bit of that distance, or and not just biking, but walking and rolling.
Sure. Yeah, so as you mentioned, this is the map of our Neighborhood Bikeway. It runs from about North Park to a little bit north of Rose Park. And it is a route consisting of local streets where bicycle travel is prioritized. So you can still drive on these streets for the most part, except for the part that goes through Pioneer Park. Obviously can't drive through there, or the part in Rose Park. But mostly you can still drive on these streets. But bicycle travel is prioritized, so that means that a lot of the cross traffic is stopped so that you can maintain momentum on your bike. There's wayfinding signage and sharrows, which is the double chevron symbol with the bike symbol above it on the street to help you find your way. So I think one thing we're trying to focus on is bicycle facilities that are accessible for people of all ages and abilities. So that was the goal with this route. is that it's accessible for everybody from kids to seniors, people with disabilities. I think if you're walking or using the sidewalk with an assisted mobility device, I think the wayfinding signage should help you, and also you can be more sure that cars are stopping at those cross streets when you're crossing those.
Yeah, the what the experts call traffic calming, or I believe, and that certainly helps, because again, even when there are sidewalks and there are crosswalks, it can be a little intimidating for folks, but because of the speed and number of cars, but to create a sort of zone where that's a little bit calmer than it might otherwise be is a great thing. One of the big things our consumers make use of, and we do a fair amount of work with Met Transit, does connecting public transit to active transportation infrastructure play a role in what you do?
Yes, definitely. So Met Transit is actually also part of our metropolitan planning organization. So that's nice because we work together on those elements. They're always at the table when we develop our plans, like the pedestrian bicycle master plan and the Safe Routes to School plan. And I know also Rusty Logan, who's in charge of Met Transit. He's been looking at ways to make their bus stops more accessible, whether that be, immediately near the bus stop or kind of routes to the bus stop. So I know he's working on that as well.
Okay. You mentioned a couple of different plans a couple of times. The big one right now is the Billings area pedestrian master plan, pedestrian and bicycle master plan. If you could talk a little bit about what exactly that plan is, and is there a way for people to be involved in the planning process?
Yeah, so our Billings area pedestrian and bicycle master plan is really our blueprint for active transportation planning in Billings. It always helps to have a good plan to fall back on. So earlier in November through early January, we had our first public comment period. So we had an online interactive map, and people could say, hey, I feel like there should be a route here. I feel like there's an issue here, or I really like this. Do more of that. So that finished in early January. So now we're working with some consultants on developing a suggested network, and we'll be bringing that network to the public at a public meeting in springtime. We haven't set the date yet. We're hoping to have what's called a pop-up demonstration project, kind of show one idea that could be implemented as a way to get people excited about coming to talk with us and reacting and sharing comments on the proposed network.
Okay. You've also mentioned, and I've worked with you on safe routes to schools. Obviously, school safety is in the news right now with some plans the school board has for a mill levy. What exactly is safe routes to schools, and obviously with accessibility plays a key role in there because of the ADA and the IDEA mandating equal access to education.
Yeah, so Safe Routes to School is implementing infrastructure that helps kids walk, bike, or roll safely to school. There's also a component of more programmatic elements, like there could be a campaign to encourage kids to walk or bike to school, or to encourage people to drive more safely around schools, that type of thing. So yeah, we're wrapping up our phase 2 Safe Routes to School plan right now, which looked at kind of a variety of schools, including some middle schools, some private schools in the area, and some county schools within our urbanized
And
area.
the previous phase looked at the Billings Public Elementary Schools, correct?
Correct. Yep. So, so we've got those 2 plans now. City Council has allocated some funding to get some of those projects implemented. We were also just awarded a $3.5 million grant from the U.S. Department of Transportation through the Safe Streets for All grant to help implement some of the projects from our phase 1 for the Billings public schools, elementary schools projects. Definitely some of those include ADA upgrades like ramps and things like that. And yeah, it's about, making sure every child can get to school safely. We've heard sometimes there are kids who don't have another option to get to school, and we want to make sure that all kids can get to school.
That's great. You mentioned a federal grant here. So that is the biggest sort of challenge of we do this planning, we have the plans, and it's great, but there is a challenge to getting the plans turned into reality. Some of that is funding, some of that is sort of community involvement. What would you say are the sort of the challenges to making these plans into reality?
Yeah, I mean, I think you kind of hit on it with funding. That's definitely a big issue. Like I said, our city council has been great and dedicated some funds to Safe Routes to School. Our Public Works Department is awesome and really creative about how they can work in some of these facilities. For instance, when they reconstruct arterial roads, they now put a 10-foot wide shared use path on one side of the street and then a sidewalk on the other, so that you can use that for biking or rolling. But yeah, I mean, there's always, there's lots of needs in our community and lots of things going on. So funding is, definitely one of those elements. But we've been lucky to, as I mentioned, get that federal grant. There's kind of some other federal money that's coming to the community, and there's a lot of other grants out there, which is really nice.
Okay, and you mentioned that there's a bike and pedestrian advisory committee. What is that? And is it elected or appointed, or how do people, if they're interested, find out more about that?
Yeah, so the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee, or BPAC, meets once a month, and they're a citizen advisory committee that works on issues related to biking and walking and rolling. Right now, I think it is currently full. We're having one member appointed next week, but if people are interested, so it's actually comprised of a couple different entities. So 3 of the members are appointed by the city, 3 are appointed by the county, and then 1 is appointed by the planning board. So it kind of depends where you live. If you live in the city, then obviously you would work with the city seats, and the mayor's office runs those for the county. The county commissioner's office accepts applications when we have open spots. And then the planning board kind of deals with their seat. So like I said, I don't think anything's open right now, but you're welcome to go onto the city's website and search for the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee and kind of keep checking in there and see if anything comes open. And if you'd like to apply, we'd love to have you.
All right. I think we have reached the end of our time in our conversation. Obviously there'll be more maybe on another day, but thank you for joining us. And again, our guest has been Elise Monat, the active transportation planner with the Billings Yellowstone County Metropolitan Planning Organization. And again, my name is Jed Barton, and I am the Public Relations Specialist with Living Independently for Today and Tomorrow LIFT. And for more information about LIFT and our advocacy resources and programs for persons with disabilities, please visit our website at liftt.org or download our mobile app for your Apple or Android device, or just give us a call at 406-259-5181. Thank you and good day.